Religion coverage is having a little bit of a crisis right now, I think. And I've been around for a long time, and I've seen religion coverage go through lots of phases. And, you know, before 9/11, religion coverage was something that mostly that national political reporters did. And it wasn't their first priority, and they sort of did it incidentally as they were covering other things. So they covered religion as a political phenomenon, and they were educated in it, you know, as a political phenomenon. And then 9/11 happened, and the whole country sort of stopped. And there was this awareness of religion. Like, oh my goodness, there's this other religion out there. We don't know anything about it, but it's motivating people to do these incredibly terrible things. You know, what is Islam? How do we understand it? What is the difference between a Muslim terrorist and all of the other Muslims in the world? And we did this very sort of collective soul-searching in the aftermath of 9/11, where we admitted that we didn't know a lot about religion, our own religions, the religions of the world. We hired religion reporters. We really looked carefully at the differences among people in terms of what they believed. We were very conscientious about it. And then media went through hard times. And so, you know, newspapers, magazines, television stations started firing their religion reporters because it's not meat and potatoes coverage, it's seen as extra. And then, you know, with the internet, it became clear that stories that made got a lot of traction online were ones that really pumped up conflict instead of enhanced understanding. A story that enhances understanding is not a story that's going to get you 1,000 likes on Facebook. And so religion writers like me are always in this conflict, you know. Do I edify, do I elucidate, do I illuminate, or do I go for clicks? And we have to do both. And I think the best of us do both. I think religion does drive traffic, so I think it would be silly for editors to reduce their religion coverage because, and that's because of something else that I firmly believe, which is that religion is something that matters to people. And whether they're non-believers, whether they're seekers, whether they're taking a break, whether they grow up in a religious household and are now a-religious, whether they grew up in an a-religious household and are now religious, this is a story that matters to people, and it matters to people when they have children, and it matters to people when they get married, and it matters to people when somebody they love dies, and it matters to people in terms of how they see the world and the kinds of values that the lens through which they look at the world. The fastest growing group of believers in America are the nones, N-O-N-E-S, which is people who aren't affiliated with any denomination. But that doesn't mean they don't believe in God. Another word for that label for those people is the spiritual but not religious. And technology has done so much for those people in particular. You know, there's Bible verses you can read online, there's inspirational messages that you can read online, if you're Muslim, you can get an app that tells you, you know, the times of prayer. If you're Jewish, you can get an app that tells you when is Shabbat. There's a do-it-yourselfness to religion that technology enables, which is really cool. You know, meditation sessions, yoga sessions. There's any kind of religious practice you want to do, you can do somehow with technology, and I think that's super cool. It presents a problem for organized religion, which is if you can do it on your iPhone, like, why go to church? But I think church needs to figure out how to accommodate that, because that's reality. And a church that doesn't figure out how to accommodate that is a dinosaur. So, you know, that interactivity and the fact that folks are forming spiritual communities online, and the fact that folks are praying for each other online, that's cool and that's new. And I don't think it makes it any less religious because it's online. I think the question is, you know, where does human contact come into play? Where does the human community come into play? And what is the role of the institutional church in that new world?